My boyfriend and I have been together for 5 years, and things were great until our daughter was born 6 months ago. Since then, our relationship has gone down the tubes because he refuses to care for her. He'll sit on the couch and play video games, and he'll only tend to her while she's screaming if I tell him to. Even then, unless I'm in the middle of doing something right then, he'll ask me why I can't just do it instead. On top of that, he only holds her if I hand her to him while he's watching TV, and she's calm. He stays up late playing video games, but still won't get her when she cries, so I have to get up with her. We've talked about it multiple times, to the extent that I've told him I can't handle it anymore, and he improves for a week and then goes back to his old ways. I'm honestly considering filing for custody, but tried one last-ditch effort. I put the baby in his gaming room and told him I was going out. In reality, I just went to the gas station because I felt like I couldn't trust him, and sure enough, when I got back the baby was screaming and he was ignoring her. I took a 10-second video of this, and after I comforted the baby, I sent it to his mother with an explanation of what was going on. She called him and absolutely reamed him for it, and now he's upset with me for involving his mother and for taking a video out of context. I'm at my wit's end and will probably leave him at this point, but am I the idiot for sending the video? Not the idiot. My husband has been a gamer since he was a teenager, and he still got things done. I could count on him to take care of our children if I needed him to, even if he was in the middle of playing. Your boyfriend seems to have no, or very little, sense of responsibility, and that isn't fair to you or your baby. I think that telling his mother was perfectly reasonable, and I would have done the same thing. Serious question, does he bring anything positive to your life? Does he bring you joy? If you answered no to these, you are probably better off raising your child alone. Not the idiot. The way he's behaving is really concerning, and it's terrible parenting. His behavior isn't changing, and you are trying to appeal to him in any way you can. Honestly, it sounds like there's something really weird going on, some sort of trauma response or something. This isn't just a case of chores not being handled equally, this is a parent ignoring the needs of his suffering child. And if the behavior continues, it's not just that you deserve a co-parent willing to share in childcare responsibilities. It's not healthy for your kid to be around someone who routinely ignores their needs. Not the idiot. Honestly, if you're considering filing for custody, that video may come in handy. This is just despicable behavior, leaving your baby screaming and crying for God knows how long when anything could be wrong. It's not out of context in any way, and if his mom thinks he's acting so horribly, as well as you, does he not think something's up with what he's doing? You need to have a serious word with him and make him aware of the fact you're at the point where if he doesn't pull his weight quickly, you're leaving, and see what he says about the situation. I am 46, from Switzerland, and come from a pretty dysfunctional family. When I was 9, my parents divorced, and I went to live with my mother and her new boyfriend, whom she married a year later. My stepfather was extremely abusive to me and my sister, both emotionally and physically, and my mother, and the rest of the family, always looked the other way. My mother and he had a son, and he was never abused. I left the house when I was 18 and moved out of the country, but kept in touch with my family sporadically. Over the years, my stepfather changed a lot, attending Alcoholics Anonymous meetings. He has not had a drink in 15 years, and has expressed his regrets for treating us the way he did. I thought I got over my childhood issues and could move on with my life, until a recent incident. Last September, my sister, half-brother, and I were summoned to a family meeting. There, my stepfather announced that he had contacted a lawyer to ensure that when he dies, his money would not end up in my sister's and my pockets. Basically, according to the law, if he dies before my mother, she gets half of his estate, and my half-brother gets the other half. And then, when my mother dies, what she owns gets divided into 3 equal parts going to her 3 children. But my stepfather sees that as unfair, and he does not want the part she'd get when he dies to go to anybody else but to his son. He asked my sister and me to sign a letter the lawyer wrote, which said we would give our part of the will to our half-brother. Of course, we refused. My brother looked embarrassed but did not express any objection. My mother, as always, was silent. Seeing how we would not sign it, my stepfather asked us to think about it. Fast forward and here comes Christmas, and we are all again reunited. The subject comes up and my stepfather becomes very irritated when we tell him we would not budge. That same night, all the abuse I suffered as a child started to resurface, and the next morning, I decided I was going to pack my bags and leave. My stepfather was not there, so my mother took the brunt of my anger. I told her that I would never forgive her for not protecting us, that she was as guilty as he was, and that I was going to do something that I should have done when I was 18. Break up with them and never see them again. My sister respects my decision, but my brother said I was being too harsh and asked me to reconsider. Apparently, my mother and stepfather are devastated by my decision and have tried to reach out to me, but I am very reluctant to accept them back into my life. I don't think I could ever forgive them. And it is not even about the money. I would actually prefer they donate everything instead of starting this drama. Not the idiot. Absolutely not. He asked you to sign something that pretty much says you're not part of the family. And in the case, he dies first, and then your mom passes away, he still wants you to have nothing. What the hell? God, reading your post made me so angry. Marrying your mom should have meant becoming a father to the two of you, which he obviously did not do. And he still wants to perpetuate this. But abuse does weird crap to you, so I'm really sorry you had to go through all that crap and are still getting dragged in it now. Not the idiot. Of course, your brother would have no objection. He wasn't the one getting physically abused as a child and is the one benefiting from the current state of things, as in he is the one being left all of this money and property. You are by no means obligated to let your mom and stepdad back into your life, regardless of what anyone says. If at 46 years old, you've decided that the best thing for you and your family, a spouse, kids, whatever your situation is, then so be it. Only you can make that call. Honestly, I'd cut him off too. Defending an abuser is just as bad. Not the idiot. I was raised in a similar situation, but with a biological father. It took me a long time and a cross-country move to cut contact with him. That was 7 years ago, and we haven't spoken since. My life has never been better. Others will try to guilt trip you and say things like, but it's family. The family would never do those things to you, to begin with. Whether it's no contact or not, you do what's best for you. Don't let others guilt trip you into making choices. The unabused sibling will never understand how you feel. I have been with my significant other for about 8 years. We live together, have several kids, and for all practical purposes are a married couple. For personal reasons, though, we decided marriage is not the best route for us at the time and are still just partners. My parents refuse to let us share a better room when we visit their house, so for the last 5 years, we have never visited for more than a day. My parents recently moved across the country and are having a huge family party to celebrate their 30th anniversary. I was talking to my mom about plans, and she said my sister and her newlywed would be sharing one guest room, my kids could have the other guest room, my partner could have the couch, and I could sleep on the futon in their bedroom. I told them that it would work better if the kids slept on the couch and floor downstairs, and I and my partner could share the bedroom. My mom said that wouldn't work. I knew why, but said why not. She said, well, you're not married, of course. I hate to make their special weekend about me, but I had to retort that we would not be staying with them if they would not let us share a room while allowing my sister to share a room with her husband. I said it also further adds salt to the wound because it delegitimizes our relationship with my kids. My mom said I was being selfish, and it disturbed her that I would expect to sleep in her house with another person while unmarried. Money is not an issue, so I said, well, we will be staying in a hotel or not coming at all, and I hanged up. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Once you live together or have a kid together, there's no sense in holding up the pretense of unmarried couples not sleeping together. My partner and I stay at my parents' house occasionally, even though they only live half a mile away. When we first started dating, we slept on opposite couches in the living room to not be a bad impression. Now that we've been living together for over 2 years, they don't care. His parents, on the other hand, tried to bribe him into moving back home after they found out we were living together to keep him from sin. Not the idiot. At the end of the day, a marriage certificate is just a piece of paper that confirms something you both already seem to feel. You two love each other, you have a life together, and you're raising children together. Is it really so necessary that you get the legal proof of your commitment that your parents are willing to alienate you and your family? Obviously, it is their house and therefore their rules, but you've provided an acceptable compromise that, while not ideal, does seem to meet their objection that it does not happen under their roof. You be you, but I only visit homes where I'm welcome and you aren't welcome there. I would be extremely offended, honestly, it would affect my entire relationship with my mom. Homeowners absolutely get to choose to be an idiot in their homes, and that's your mom, so you are not the idiot. Let me say, though, without knowing your situation, that in my opinion, the primary benefit of marriage is the difficulty of divorce, which is protection mostly for children. I frequently recommended against marriage until it's time to breed. But all that is irrelevant to the rudeness of your mother. Howdy, y'all. So about a year ago, these three gals moved into an apartment in our building. We actually moved from that unit to another in the same building. They ended up pushing their move-in date a week earlier and bringing their parents to make demands on their behalf, but were generally polite despite requiring we suddenly clean up a week early for them. Since then, they've taken to ignoring us on the street. We've all just tried to be neighborly, but have since given up wasting time on it. The building is in a more expensive part of town, quite unique, and the rent is incredibly low. So it is what it is has become the motto for this dilapidated gem. Now, about the note. It's their first apartment. They've had issues with taking out the trash for nearly their entire time here. While there are cans on the roof, most of us just go ahead and take our trash down to the dumpster. The place is owned by an older couple, and having the husband drag our trash all the way downstairs is something we and other tenants would prefer to avoid. Besides, there's much more important work to be done around the place. But these gals can't even be bothered to bring their trash outside. They just let it pile up outside their door, inside the building, and the stink begins to fester. So the owner eventually hauls it all the way outside and downstairs himself. I found him doing this one day, fumed over it for the night, and we wrote a note the next morning. Look. Leaving your garbage up here is trashy. Leaving it up here to rot and stink up the building is disgusting. But making it such a problem that other people have to take care of it is freaking shameful. Get your crap together, ladies. Sincerely, who cares, take care of your crap. I feel kind of bad. The wording was strong. But the trash is gone. Am I the idiot? Everyone's the idiot here. Sure, they're handling their trash poorly. However, your note was over the top. Your other statements about them not being neighborly and such makes me think you've got more issues with them than just how they handle the trash and use this note as an excuse to tear into them. Has anyone told them what the trash policy is? If your intent was actually to get them to take care of your trash, a less rude response would have gotten the point across. But not wanting roaches, flies, and rats, which can carry diseases, seems to be enough of an issue. Everyone's the idiot here. The behavior of your neighbors is obviously rude. But a better note would have been as follows. The couple who owns our apartments is elderly. Still, they try their best to take care of our trash and keep our place looking nice. The tenants here make a point to carry our trash down the stairs for them to make things easier. But I've noticed them carrying your trash often. I've also noticed your trash build up outside, which makes things harder and more unsightly. We would all appreciate if you would start carrying your trash and tidying up for everyone. Everyone's the idiot here. They should be taking out their own trash, but I can't understand why it makes you this mad. Your note was very aggressive, there's no way it will get thrown to them because you're just attacking and insulting them, you've left them nowhere to go but on the defensive, so they will probably just double down. My first thought when reading this is they might not know the rules or notice how everyone else takes out the trash. If you had politely talked to them first you could have just explained the policy and the hassle they are making for the elderly owners. Try to keep this as brief as possible. Girlfriend and I have been together 2 years, we're recently looking to move in together. She was going to spend the rest of the month in her apartment, then move into my place, and she's been spending most days over here anyway, gradually moving some of her stuff in. This is gross, so fair warning. For the 3 days straight she's been over I've noticed an odd smell when I picked up my toothbrush. I wasn't sure what it was so I rinsed it and kept using it as normal. One morning she asked me if I had noticed anything different but refused to elaborate when I asked for an explanation, so I was on high alert now. I left my phone running in the washroom peeking out of the towel cabinet that faces the sink, and I totally get how invasive that was, and if it turned out I was wrong, I was prepared to admit to it and accept the consequences for my assumptions as they came. I know I'm the idiot for that, but that's not what I'm asking. Turns out she had been rubbing my toothbrush inside her pants in the mornings as she wakes up before me and putting it back in the container. When I got my phone and seen the video, I was livid and confronted her immediately. She reacted like it was a gigantic joke, laughing, trying to hug me, and saying she wanted to see how long it'd take for me to figure it out. Apparently, she viewed it as a prank. I felt incredibly disgusted and betrayed. I feel like it's disrespectful and not at all a prank, and it's unhygienic. It's not even like she did it once, she had been doing it for days. I told her to get the stuff that she had brought over in the past few days and leave, that I didn't want to be with her anymore. She's absolutely dumbfounded. I could see this as anything other than a harmless prank. It's her opinion that it shouldn't matter because I washed it before use anyway. On one hand, she's been so inconsolable and has been begging me to reconsider, so much that I'm second-guessing my decision to end it and wondering whether I'm being too harsh. On the other hand, if this is her idea of a prank and the sort of thing she can do, not only do I not trust her in my house around my stuff, I don't trust her in general. Am I the idiot if I want to end things? Not the idiot. What your girlfriend did is gross, and it's in the realm of mean pranks that I don't find funny. Some people think that's acceptable, but I wouldn't want to live with someone who didn't understand or acknowledge or respect why I did not find that funny. Lest you suspect I'm a humorless prank hater. Once, while I wasn't paying attention, my friend folded every towel in my apartment into reproductive origami. That's the kind of prank I appreciate. Immensely. Not the idiot. Based on previously watching some prank YouTube couples, most people would do this type of prank as like, haha, here's your toothbrush in my pants, and make you think that was your actual toothbrush, when in reality they did that with an identical toothbrush and your real one wasn't affected, so your reaction was the prank. You get the idea. Though that would still be annoying, it wouldn't be as crossing the line as what she actually did. Not the idiot. That is so gross. I couldn't imagine doing something so freaking gross to someone I cared about. Don't blame you, it would be a deal breaker for me too. The only reason I would entertain the idea of getting back together is if this is the first time she's done something like this. Maybe it was just incredibly bad judgment on what a joke or prank is. And now she should have a pretty clear idea how you feel about it. But even with that said, I don't know if I could get over it.